Stop blind trial and error. The path of wisdom from darkness to light. Welcome to today's episode. Did you know, today, we are going to dive into a very special piece of material. This is a manuscript provided by the Buddha-Bodhi Association of Australia. In this episode, we want to take everyone on a deep dive into a pain point that we all experience every single day, yet rarely ever truly see through. Why do we always mess things up? Seriously, why does that happen? Are you ready? Let us cut straight to the chase. Have you noticed that in today's fast-paced society, but let us be honest, reality is often brutal. This kind of blind giving it a shot usually doesn't bring massive success. Instead, it brings nothing but frustration and powerlessness. Right at the beginning. Are we actually solving problems? Or are we just creating more chaos? Part E, defining light and darkness. To figure out why we fail, let us first look at the two most fundamental and core concepts in the manuscript. The text mentions a specific concept, Quan uncontrolled impulse, madness. Master gives a super precise definition for it here. He says Quan means that the momentum or force is too massive to be controlled. Think about it: when we have absolutely no clue what is going on, yet blindly rush into things based purely on a sudden impulse, the force unleashed at that moment is an uncontrollable, destructive power. This really isn't bravery, it is complete loss of control. Now, the exact opposite of Quan is the Buddhist concept of Guan light, or what we call Ming clarity, brightness. Everyone, please note the light mentioned here is not the physical light emitted by a light bulb. It refers to a state of ultimate clarity, a thorough, absolute understanding. When you grasp the operational rules of something inside and out, that understanding acts like a powerful beam of light. Bam! In an instant, it obliterates all darkness and ignorance. Part R, the price of blindness. What happens if we lack this ultimate clarity? Let us take a look at the painful price that ignorance demands. Master puts it very bluntly in the text: doing things without figuring anything out first is called blind execution. Many of us constantly treat ourselves like Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb, thinking that if we just fail 1,000 times, we will eventually succeed. But let's be real, we aren't scientists. In real life doesn't grant us a quota of 1,000 free trials. If you just blindly shout, "Let us give it a try," whenever you face a situation, the result is usually immediate failure and getting chewed up and spat out by society. The manuscript gives an example that everyone will absolutely relate to: assembling a desk. You must have someone like this around you. They buy new furniture, but they refuse to look at the instruction manual for dear life. They insist on fumbling around blindly, trying to piece it together themselves. After wrestling with it for ages, it is still not assembled. They've made a total fool of themselves. Yet deep down, they still expect others to admire them. Sounds hilarious, right? But honestly, isn't this a perfect microcosm of how we handle many things in life? The consequences of this kind of blind execution are deeply painful. You want to save face, but you end up making things worse. You crave admiration, but you never get it. In Buddhism, this triggers the suffering of separation from what one loves. Then your mind becomes flooded with intense, unstoppable desire for things you want but cannot obtain, spinning in endless loops. This is called the suffering of the raging five skandhas. Just because you chose blindness at the very beginning, these seemingly trivial daily setbacks pile up higher and higher, eventually snowballing into the heavy, crushing eight sufferings spoken of in Buddhism. Part 3, the path to clarity. Now that we've identified the problem, we need a real solution. How exactly do we break free from the darkness of ignorance? The answer is actually hidden within an authoritative Buddhist scripture, the Mahāvibhāya. The scripture states the Bodhisattva Mahasattva possesses 8 lights. With these 8 lights, they can destroy all darkness. What is the key takeaway here? It tells us directly that the light spoken of by the Buddha is, in essence, a profound understanding capable of shattering all foolishness and ignorance. The manuscript lists these 8 lights, spanning from the light of mindfulness, the light of intent, the light of conduct, the light of dharma, all the way to the light of unobstructed wisdom. You don't need to memorize these terms. You just need to see the core concept behind them. True clarity is all-encompassing, leaving zero blind spots. Every single light here is designed to strike precisely at the blind spots in our thinking and behavior. This creates a flawless contrast between two entirely different ways of living. On one side, you are mired in ignorance, constantly tripping, falling, and suffering through blind attempts. On the other side, you move toward clarity. You master the rules of the game first, execute them flawlessly, and sail through life with ease. Seriously, compared to the bloody setbacks of blind collision, the sense of peace that comes from mastering the rules is what we should truly be chasing, isn't it? So, how do we actually practice this in daily life? The manuscript offers a super practical, highly grounded first-step formula. First, learn the rules. Second, thoroughly commit them to memory. Third, practice repeatedly until they become second nature. Fourth, execute flawlessly in strict accordance with the rules. As long as you can reliably execute these first steps, failure becomes an impossibility. This is the most effective method for us to step out of darkness and walk into the light. Master uses a wonderfully visual and humorous analogy here. Think about it. Is there anyone in this world who would smear cooked white rice all over their body to wear as clothes? Or is there anyone who would take off their clothes and try to eat them? No, right? Why? Because we learned the basic rules of eating and dressing a long time ago. This proves one thing: every single one of us absolutely has the capacity to achieve clear understanding. We can do it. However, at this point, a disciple asked a very sharp question: what if there is a situation where our entire group doesn't know what to do, and none of us has ever learned it before? What do we do then? This brings us to our fourth section. Part C, radiating light to others. When facing uncharted territory, what should our mindset be? And how should we influence others? The manuscript quotes a famous saying by the sixth patriarch, Master Huining: the six sense gates continuously radiate great light. This might sound a bit esoteric, but it simply means that when our six senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, come into contact with this world, if we can completely see through the true nature of things without being deluded, then we are radiating light. Conversely, if we don't understand what's happening, we fall right into the darkness of ignorance. The description in the text paints a vivid picture. It says that many people are like they are hiding inside a dark cave filled with greed and misery. Even though they are enduring the 8 sufferings, they stubbornly cling to their pain and refuse to let go. The Buddha stands at the mouth of the cave trying to pull them out, yet they struggle and resist with all their might. But when you transform yourself into a self-illuminating being through learning and training, you gain power. You can pass this clarity along, guiding those who are still blindly crashing into walls safely out of that dark cave. Part II, true cultivation and success. Having said all this, let us summarize the ultimate goal of today's discussion. Why do we put so much effort into learning these rules? The manuscript puts forward a profound perspective. If you are pious to the absolute extreme, meaning you sincerely and genuinely want to learn the laws governing how things work, whether it is a secular skill or world-transcending wisdom, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will personally manifest to teach you, just like a Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. As long as you are a truly sincere learner, the gates of wisdom will absolutely open wide for you. So, here comes the most critical point. Master gives a super pragmatic definition of cultivation. Listen closely. Everyone, cultivation is not some kind of magical power that lets you fly through the air or burrow into the earth and remote mountains. Cultivation is simply the act of correcting your own wrong behaviors to make yourself a successful person. Yes, it is that simple. That is the entire meaning of cultivation. We must constantly alert ourselves never to become those uneducated, incompetent, and failed practitioners. The most terrifying thing about these people is that they don't understand the rules at all. Yet they possess a blind self-confidence, leading everyone while shouting, "Charge!" This is quite literally a blind person riding a blind horse, galloping along the edge of a cliff in the dead of night. In the end, they will only lead everyone to crash into a deeper, darker, bottomless abyss. This brings us to the final question of our episode today. And you understand the powerful strength of clear comprehension. The choice is entirely in your hands. In the future, when facing life's various challenges, will you choose to keep gambling on luck in the dark, fumbling blindly, and enduring endless setbacks? Or are you willing to quiet your mind, properly master the rules, and allow yourself to become that very light, the light that can not only solve problems but also illuminate everyone around you? We hope that today's wisdom, brought to you by the Buddha-Bodhi Association of Australia, brings genuine clarity and brightness to your life. Thank you for watching. See you in our next commentary.